What are some ways that you're looking to speed up the content creation process? Maybe, or a better question maybe is, what's slowing you down, do you think? Like, for me, I was telling Peyton on this in the podcast, I have like 20 to 30, but probably closer to 20 almost done posts in Streamline Gaming, but I haven't published them because I wanted to, set out a content plan. And right when I was getting ready to publish all of them, week after week, I got burnt out at my job and got burnt out with Streamline Gaming, and then kind of just took a couple months off. But as I think about it, I think I'm actually really I get nervous about posting stuff because I've had, you always, when you post stuff, there's always some trolls and like that don't like your stuff, which is normal, but it's definitely in my head, and makes me kind of not post the stuff sometimes. So do you think there's something like that for you, that maybe you're slower at writing because maybe subconsciously you're not wanting to publish a lot because then it might bring on haters, or is it just no? Well, that's good.
But I mean, here's the thing. If I talk about parenting, I might get that. I get that somewhat because I have a focus on boys, and people get a little bit worked up about that. Huh. But that's their issue, not mine. And so why am I slow? I want to talk about why you're not publishing.
You can talk about it. Let's talk.
I will, but let me tell you why I'm slow first. One of the things is that I am very particular about what I choose to share on there, and so if I'm looking for books, my book lists take me a really long time because I care deeply, really, really deeply about what I put up there. So I'm not just going to Amazon, typing in a search and plucking all the books out. I know these books, and I
in
know
the long run that would lose your credibility. Like,
right. And
people would sniff that out for sure.
I think, I want people to trust me because what I am sharing is, hand selected. And then when I decide a book is good enough for one of my lists, then, I talk a little bit about it. So I go to the library, I look at books, I, bring a bunch of stuff home, I purchase books. It's a process. It isn't, I'm not just making up lists that, I want the ones that are going to be the best for boys, and not every book is going to meet that criteria. And so my book lists take me a really super long time.
I have something very similar with my gaming website. When I make board game lists, it's the same thing. Like, I don't want to just take the top whatever.
Right.
So what really happens is I'm the type of person that plays one or two board games a lot, or, I get really involved in one. I try to master that one or two games. I've played a lot of games compared to, someone that doesn't play games, but to someone that's in the hobby, it's very common for them to buy a new game every week and play it once and then the next and the next. And so you have some of these people, some of the readers and especially a lot of the people that haven't been a fan of some of the lists come in and they get mad at me for having, 6 out of the 10 of my games I haven't played, but I'll put that on there. Like, I haven't played these, but these are what other people that like these games suggest. So I do the research. I still do the research. I still try to provide a list of games that other people like of that genre. And then I also talk about the games that I like from that genre. So to me, that's the best way and only way to really do it if I haven't played thousands of games. But I get, some of the people that reading that, I guess that's all they do is play a bunch of different games. And so they know all these games. And so they're like, why didn't this make the list? Why didn't this make the list? Why didn't this? I'm like, well, because I didn't want my list to have 800 games in it. And I wanted to talk about the games that I've played, but anyway.
So your audience is different than mine.
Very.
So, but to go back to why you are not publishing, Um,
I'm ready.
so if it's a little bit, so it sounds like it's a little bit of a fear of what's going to happen, because somebody probably is going to come and troll you. So one thing I would do is to, when you get someone saying something like, if they say something negative about one of your lists, I think you can use this. I don't know if it will be helpful to you. This has been really helpful to me in my life, but generally it goes like this. You look at what was said and say, is it true? Okay. So if they say, why didn't you include this game? Well, I mean, that's not really trolling. I get, if they say your list is stupid, let's go with that.
Yeah,
is it true?
The trolls are more on that side of like
what?
The trolls that I'd say are probably more on the this guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Okay.
Kind of so.
Okay, perfect.
Because I don't have XYZ. Yeah.
Right, that's what I thought. Okay, so then let me ask you, is that true?
So I would say 8 or probably 9 out of 10 times it's not true.
Right.
And then 1 out of 10, sometimes people do bring up a good point. I'm like, that was really mean the way they said it, but they're probably right after reevaluating it, and then I go back and I fix it.
Okay.
After researching it. So yeah, go ahead.
So then 9 times, right? It's not true. So if it isn't true, then it doesn't matter at all because it's not true. Okay. And then the one time that it is true, then you do exactly what you said, is you acknowledge you're right, even if they said it in a crappy way. But you're right. I was wrong about that. I'm going to fix it. And you don't have to do that with them necessarily, but just in your mind, okay, that's right. That was true. What I said was wrong, or what I said didn't make sense, or the game I picked wasn't a good choice, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Just generally in life, I'm thinking more than. Okay, so then you take that one item out of 10 and you say, oh, I can fix that, right?
Right.
And so, or if it wasn't true and all the games you picked were great, then you say, well, that's an opinion-based thing. So my opinion is different than theirs, but my opinion is still valid and my opinion is important, right? So
were you a therapist at one point?
No.
You're amazing.
But I'm just saying that a lot of times we let people get in our head. My husband always says, don't let people rent space in your head, right? So you let these little comments stop you from helping other people.
They're keeping me from my goal. You're exactly right.
And from meeting your goals, right? But you can't help people with your content if it's sitting in your drafts, right? So
I've definitely thought of that, and that's really, you're exactly right. That's usually what gets them out of my drafts after a while.
Right. So,
but yeah, trying to do that quicker, it would be more helpful. Getting over, and I've gotten way better at dealing with it.
Yeah.
But it's still definitely, I notice it in my subconscious. Like sometimes I'm slower, and I'm like, is this because I don't know how to finish the post? Because I don't, or is it because I don't think the post is good, or is it really because I'm scared to actually
put it out?
Yeah. And usually it's because I'm scared to put it out.
But you know what, Calvin? Knowing that is a huge thing, because a lot of people never even get to knowing it.
Right.
If we know the things that stop us, then that our brain tries to protect us. Okay. And so our brain is going to go, ooh, not sure you should do that. Look what happened last time, And so what we need to do is go, yeah, that's right. That happened last time, but that wasn't even true. And so thing that they said wasn't true. So I'm safe. I can go ahead. It's
challenging those thoughts of yeah.
it is you have to kind of change the brain pathway of protection in some instances where it doesn't need to be there.
Right.
There's times when, yes, that's important to have, but there's times when it can mess us up, And I know that sounds kind of woo-woo, but it isn't.
Uh-huh.
It's actually brain science.
Oh, I believe it. I believe in what you're saying. For me, I do know that I've gotten way better at it as I've done my Calvin Keeney stuff. Like when I started Streamline Gaming, it was my first website. It was the first time I was trying to put content out, which was completely scary for me.
It's a huge learning curve, and it is. You're putting yourself out there.
One video, yeah, and that was scary for me. As I look back on where I was with Streamline Gaming and now where I am with launching my personal brand, it's like, wow, I'm way more okay with my content not being perfect. Whereas Streamline Gaming, it's like, oh, I need an intro, I need a nice logo, I need all this stuff before I get going. But with calvinkeeney.com, it's just like, I want to get this content out so people can see it. So my podcast doesn't have a fancy intro yet. I mean, hopefully I'll get something someday, but I'm just wanting to share the good part of I spend too much time worrying about that 1% to 2% that is cool, but it doesn't really affect the 99% of the content as much as my brain wants me to think it does. So in the past, that would have meant me not publishing any of these talks that I'm doing. Whereas now it's like, okay, I don't have the intro. I don't have whatever. I want to someday. I'll work up towards that. But for now, I want to just practice making the content and get better at doing, get better at publishing and distributing and being okay with myself.
Smart.